now been holding XRP almost 8 years and have never sold a single XRP in my entire life. And my strategy hasn't changed at all that time period, by the way. So for me, investing in XRP is a binary bet, meaning either I'm wrong and XRP goes to zero one day, or I'm right and it's worth a freaking fortune in the future compared to the price today. Which means, of course, all of the price action in between doesn't ultimately matter to me. I'm waiting for one of those two things to happen. One of those two things absolutely will happen. Unquestionably, there's no other possible outcome. There's not a world where XRP just flutters, in terms of price action sideways perpetually for all eternity. And so, given that, I believe it's clear XRP is an early winner of the crypto space. It just seems so obvious to me that it's only going to trend higher in price over time. Despite pullbacks, of course, is going to move in line with the crypto market. But over time, the chart up and to the right. And, it's important to understand that all of the extreme price volatility that occurs in the meantime, that extreme price volatility is not an indicator in and of itself of whether or not XRP is going to zero or going to the moon. It's just regular volatility in the world of crypto. Yes, it's extreme, but that's normal in crypto. And that's something that I wish more people understood. I really do. Again, it's so obvious to me that all of this price action in between doesn't matter. Either we're right about the bet or we're wrong. And no matter how extreme that volatility is to the upside and then to the downside, it doesn't matter until one of those two things happens. And again, let me be clear. The price action in and of itself, no matter how extreme it is, that price action in and of itself is not an indicator of whether XRP is going to the zero or going to the moon. That's why I keep saying, in the end, it doesn't matter. I track it because it's fun and I've got skin in the game, so it's exciting for that reason. But in the end, it doesn't matter. The end result is what matters. And one of those things is going to happen. And so in this video, I'm going to share with you an update on various XRP metrics, along with a couple stories that will directly impact the price of XRP, especially as we let a little bit more time pass. But it's just so obvious to me. We're just waiting for enough time to pass that more people figure it out and then the price rises. In my mind, that's what we're waiting for. We're not questioning if it made it at this point. In my mind, it did. But I do still need to see time pass so that I can confirm price-wise that my bet over all these years was the right one. And I still firmly believe that it is. This is a biggie. T. Rowe Price files for crypto ETF tracking XRP Cardano. This is actually truly massive. You're talking about legacy finance jumping into the world of crypto, and it looks like accepting XRP. This piece reads as follows. Legacy asset manager T. Rowe Price has made its first attempt to offer a crypto ETF tracking the performance of major digital assets like XRP and Cardano. The $1.77 trillion Baltimore-based firm filed an S-1 form with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission on Wednesday, according to the regulator's official website. Termed the T. Rowe Price Active Crypto ETF, just rolls off the tongue, the fund will offer exposure to eligible assets that meet its criteria at the time of filing. Notably, the eligible assets include Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, and then it names a bunch of other ones here. So, and I was talking about this maybe a couple days or so ago. This is just a beautiful thing. The fact that XRP has been in the top 10 coins by market cap for its entire existence puts it in an incredible position, because the coins that are the most successful are the coins that are going to attract even more money. It's like success begets success. Like that's what's happening here. Just like if you're rich, it's easier to get even more rich, but it's hard to get rich in the first place. But once you're in the status that XRP is in, a major coin, a top 10 coin, which it's been for its entire existence, when you start having assets, asset managers put together ETFs, multi-coin ETFs, of course XRP is going to be thrown in there, which means when their customers purchase these multi-coin ETFs, the XRP is going to be in there by default, because a lot of these asset managers, mind you, they're not going to want to pick winners and losers. They're going to want to say, okay, here's a bet on large caps. It's a bet on the asset class, basically, XRP gets, and then more money flows into XRP because it's already one of the most successful coins in the history of the crypto asset class. That is incredible for us as XRP holders. Way more money is going to flow into XRP than otherwise would. And so that's a benefit that, mid caps and small cap coins just don't have. So I don't know about you, but I'm pretty damn thankful for that. And here we have, a firm founded in the 1930s, jumping into crypto and ready to embrace it. Looks like XRP. It's incredible stuff here. Then they write, the mixed crypto ETF would have most of its weight on Bitcoin and Ether, with other assets comprising a smaller percentage. And by the way, just to be clear, that is normal. It makes sense logically to have favoritism towards those cryptocurrencies that have larger market caps. And you see this all over the place. This is going to be what happens in most multi-coin funds, and then they adjust with time. So XRP, if it ends up becoming like, say, number 2 in market cap, it can be adjusted so that there's more invested in it. But if you're just a fund to if you're T Rowe Price, it does make sense. So, especially if you're not like literally crypto experts, to just cast a wide net and be like, okay, let's just rank it, because the market is a voting mechanism. Like, this is the reason that market cap actually matters. The way that we measure which coins are most important societally on a global scale is by investing in those coins, and then they're ranked by market cap. And so it certainly makes sense if you're T Rowe Price, or even just a regular investor like myself. I look at it like this too. Like, it is true. This is the world. Think about it. Investors the world over telling you which coins they believe are most important, and they're voting with their actual money, their dollars, or whatever their fiat currency is. They're voting with their hard-earned money. And so that's how you get the rank. So if you think that you know better than the world as a whole, I mean, maybe you do, but you probably don't. I mean, I don't think that I do. I don't pretend to know that. I know I'm right about XRP. That seems very obvious here. But it's the same thing's true for the stock market. If you want exposure to the stock market, this is why it makes sense to just buy an ETF that tracks the S&P 500. It's not like you're researching the 500 companies that the ETF represents. Of course you're not. You're just like, well, these are ranked a certain way because investors in the stock market have put in money accordingly, and it's ranked this way by market cap as a result, so I'm getting that exposure. Same thing with crypto. And so we're just benefiting since XRP is already up there. It's going to get slopped into all of these multi-coin funds, and way more XRP gets bought by these funds, because these funds, understand, if they're spot, and that's what we're talking about here, it's backed by the actual assets, including XRP. It's just incredible. And then they write, notably, the number of cryptocurrencies in the fund can vary depending on the asset manager's discretion. The fund will hold between 5 and 15 tokens, but can still exceed the upper boundary or fall below the lower boundary at any time. So I'll just say this, it would be weird if ultimately XRP is not in there, but if you look at the actual filing right here, this is the document filed to the SEC, you can see XRP is actually mentioned 36 times. So right here, as of the date of the prospectus, based on the sponsor's assessment of available data, the following crypto assets are considered eligible assets as they meet all eligibility criteria. And there you go. You'll love to see it. It's just a fantastic thing. And there was this post from, it's actually a short thread. It's from Nate Garachi. He is the president of Nova Diaz Wealth, formerly the ETF store. And upon seeing this news, he understands the significance of this. He wrote, can't overstate significance of T. Rowe Price filing for an actively managed crypto ETF out of left field. T. Rowe is the quintessential legacy asset manager, founded in 1937. They managed some $1.8 trillion in assets, but just got involved with ETFs in 2020. Now, moving to crypto. The point is that legacy asset managers are quickly trying to figure out how to implement some semblance of a crypto strategy. A number of these firms actually missed out on ETF boom. They want to avoid same mistake with crypto. Hoping crypto goes away is not a good business strategy. And folks, when he said that, I couldn't help but think of Vanguard, which upon, the approval of various Bitcoin ETFs in January of last year, they're like, yeah, we're just not going to offer them. Now, of course, that's ultimately going to change. There's no question. And it is. But just wishing it away doesn't work. It's hard. It is genie's out of the bottle. Crypto's here to stay. And XRP just happens to be an early winner of the crypto space. Anyway, then Nate says, by the way, this isn't TradFi co-opting crypto. You have to think deeper than that. A firm founded in 1937 is now building out the full infrastructure to handle crypto trading and manage a crypto ETF. That has to happen before they move towards tokenizing securities, baby steps. Yeah, and then obviously that'll be another huge one because the XRP ledger is so perfectly designed for tokenization of every financial asset on the planet, including any securities, any stocks. Absolutely. XRP ledger, look, I don't think there's going to be one blockchain to rule them all when it comes to this particular use case. But yeah, XRP ledger should be one of the winners. It's perfect for this. Tokenize all the equities and put them on the XRP ledger. Hell yeah. And then, by the way, I wanted to mention this briefly. So there's this story a couple days ago. XRP ETF approval may come soon despite U.S. government shutdown delays, says Grayscale. And I do believe this is going to be coming sooner than later. And so they're citing somebody named Zach Pandles, head of research at Grayscale Investments. And they're just recognizing the delay and citing that we're not going to get crypto ETFs approved until the government shutdown is over. Because the actual product review, the people that do that, they're gone. That's just not happening while the government shutdown is going on. But as soon as they come back, absolutely. And so they write here, despite the delay, Pandal expressed optimism that once the shutdown ends, the SEC will likely escalate ETF approvals. He explained that regulators have already established generic listing standards, which I've covered on this channel, meaning they will not evaluate each cryptocurrency one by one. Instead, any asset that meets the criteria can qualify as an ETF or ETP. And that's what I predicted would happen before generic listing standards got approved. And I don't think that's some wild, I don't think that I had some wild prediction out there. It just seemed like, obviously, we got a pro-crypto SEC, pro-crypto government in the United States from the top on down. And so when they said, yeah, we're going to put some rules together, I was like, yeah, they're going to put some rules together then. And they're going to get their ducks in a row. And then once they have these standards set, then everything can get approved. So the only reason we've seen delays for the XRP ETFs is because they had to do that first. And so now we're at a point where it seems like the government shutdown is about to get wrapped up. It's all political posturing BS. It's going to end. And as soon as it ends, everything goes back to normal. And that means crypto ETFs ultimately get approved, including a bunch of XRP ETFs. It's coming. As far as I'm concerned, it's close to a 100% chance that's happening this year, actually. Very, very soon. And then we also had this Digital Asset Fund Flows Weekly Report. And this is updated every single week by James Butterfield with CoinShares. And this is fascinating because this is the first full week that we had of data after the biggest liquidation event in crypto history. Can you believe that's been 2 weeks now? Jeez. And so this shows the first full week of data. So this is ending, I think it was October 17th. Yeah, data available as of close of October 17th. And take a look at this. So Bitcoin, and this is, by the way, these figures, these are all institutional numbers, okay? Institutional flows, inflows and outflows. In this case, if you look at Bitcoin had outflows for the week. Negative 946 million, negative outflows. XRP for the same time period, I just wanted to note, inflows, positive, that's right, up for that week after the biggest liquidation event in crypto history. XRP institutional inflows up $73.9 million for 1 week. You love to see it. I just think it's fun to note. It's just a fun thing to note. Also, take a look at this. Google Trends here for the search term XRP, and this is going back the last 5 years on a worldwide scale here. And you can see literally for years, especially this is mostly bear market territory here, very, very low, right? Obviously, it spiked in November going into December of last year when XRP went on its first major rally. Arguably since the 2017 bull run. Yes, XRP ran last market cycle, but it was artificially suppressed, of course, because of the SEC attack. But look at it. And then, excitement was kind of lost in part of the year. So you get to May where you seem to have bottomed out here in terms of people searching for XRP on a global scale. But even then, it was elevated compared to the years prior during the bear market. So we seem to have had a new low. Then the XRP price started rocketing again. In July, we hit a new all-time high, $3.65. Most of the rest of the crypto market wasn't insanely running. So there was a certain increase in interest in search terms as a result, but then we seem to have come back down pretty close to where we were before that surge. And I just wanted to note that I think it's incredibly positive that the price of XRP is $2.43 as I'm recording this video. And that's with us being at the low end of what is normal now for searches for XRP. That's the level of interest that we're at. It's at the low end, and we're still at $2.43, and that's after the biggest liquidation event in crypto history. Now, that's some freaking strength, is it not? And take a look at this. To drive the point home further, let's look at another metric. Here's the number of new accounts activated, and this is per day going back to last year. Look at this. On any given day, you have between just roughly 4,000 to 5,000 new accounts created. It could be a little higher, a little bit lower, but basically 4,000 to 5,000. That's where we've been for months at this point, for just several months at this point. 4,000 to 5,000 new accounts per day. You know where we were before XRP rocketed in July? We were hovering around any given day, maybe more like 3,000 to 3,500 new accounts per day. And again, it could be a little higher, a little bit lower, but mostly 3,000 to 3,500 accounts per day. And then if you go, it's not on the chart here, but if you go back a little over a year, we were averaging on any given day only about 1,000 new accounts. So we're 5 times that on many days. We're 4 to 5 times that compared to where we were just a little over a year ago. And that's a new baseline. Do you see how much more interest there is in XRP? And mind you, the strongest fundamentals for XRP in history are right now. It's clearly recognized. So when the market goes, given that everything goes in tandem, XRP is absolutely poised to be a monstrous winner here. It already has over the last year. As the market went up, XRP's clearly gone with it and been a top performer, no question there. And that's why if you look at the XRP Rich List website, you can see the number of XRP wallets is now 7.14 million. 7.14 million wallets. And if you look here, you can see it. You can see the slope increases once you get to July, when we had that new all-time high for XRP. You have an increased clip, and it's stayed like that for months now. That heightened number there of new accounts, that stayed with us. And that's why when I showed you this page here, number of new accounts activated, that's why it's now 4 to 5. It's just another way of visualizing it. So if you think XRP makes sense, I'm just saying, lots of people the world over agree with you. I'm one of them. XRP makes a ton of sense. It is an early winner of the crypto space. So look at all of this, keep it in mind, understand that even on an institutional level, all these legacy finance firms, they're jumping into crypto and they're agreeing, yes, it makes sense for their customers to have exposure to XRP. And yes, the rest of the crypto market, but specifically XRP. Isn't that, do you see the big, this is amazing. And so that's why when I started the video talking about, the binary, in my eyes, what is a binary bet? Either XRP goes to zero or it goes to a freaking fortune compared to where it is now. Do you see why I'm optimistic? It's not like this is the comprehensive list for me, but these are reasons. And so I'm not selling my XRP until it's way more life-changing than it already has been. Because I believe this son of a bitch is going way, way, way higher. I firmly believe that to be the case. And if I'm wrong, fine. I eat it and it goes to zero. Too bad, so sad for me. I'm an adult. But I do not believe that is remotely probable. I personally believe it's just going to rocket even higher. And that's why, even though I don't make price predictions myself, all these analysts calling for double-digit price action for XRP, I just don't think that's remotely unreasonable for this market cycle even. So we'll see where it lands. But especially if you're talking about Bitcoin getting as high as some analysts are calling, like over $200,000, how could you not get double-digit price action for XRP with that much money slosh around the place? Crypto land? Come on. So it's contingent upon that much money coming into the space. But I'm just saying, if you think XRP is not going to get a piece of that, you got another thing coming here, folks. This thing's going to go ultimately way, way, way higher. So no, I'm not selling my XRP until it's worth way more. And the lower the price goes, the less enticed I am to sell. I know that causes some people to panic and then sell. Not me. When the price goes lower, I'm way less enticed to sell. I need the price to be way higher or I won't even consider selling. That is what it takes to make life-changing wealth in crypto. You have to invest enough and you have to be more patient than everyone else, whatever it takes, because you don't choose what happens. So as I always say, just control the parts that you can control, which is frankly just whether or not you have exposure to the asset class when the thing runs, and then just let the rest go. Because you don't choose when the market runs, but it's going to run. So you're either there when it happens or you're not. And that's why all the volatility in between, it doesn't scare me. It doesn't matter because I know that the volatility that happens in between in and of itself is not an indicator of whether or not XRP is ultimately going to be worth a fortune compared to the price it is right now. It just isn't. Flatly stated, it just did. And if more people could just understand that and let that seep in, there'd be a lot less people panic selling. That's the truth. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say, all right? That would be a very, very, very bad idea.